Yeah, if you're struggling at home with Wi-Fi reception, connectivity, Wi-Fi speed, even having some lags, especially of course while gaming, and your modem is actually okay, then you usually have two options. You can install a mesh Wi-Fi system, but that can be a lot of work for configuration, and it can also be quite costly because you have to buy a lot of devices, and so that's an awesome alternate solution. Just one single very powerful Wi-Fi router supporting pretty much all the standards, even a lot of security. And that's this H3C Magic BX54 router. By the way, I got this one for free to show you all the really nice details to test it for you, so you don't have to do that. But it's still my honest opinion because I would never claim something which is not true. And so here we have it. You can see it's even a really nice, beautiful, very stylish router. Of course, you get also the accessories which we need, like the power adapter and the medium size Ethernet cable. By the way, down here imprinted on a sticker, can't show you that. Here you have the IP address, initial SSID, and the information that no initial password is needed. Serial number, much more. And so to set up the router is very easy. First we have to connect the uplink. Here is the Ethernet cable to router or modem. Then we power it on. What's awesome is that we can also see that we have 3 Ethernet ports. Even though this router is very powerful and can cover up to 2000 square feet, which is a decent size of a whole home, we can still add more of these H3C routers to build a mesh Wi-Fi system. And so we can use this button here, and then we get confirmation. If not building a mesh Wi-Fi system, you can just see 4 steady blue lights here as a confirmation that everything's working normally. By the way, the reset button is here in the back, and this button here in the front can also be used to give a boost for the Wi-Fi system or optimize the Wi-Fi system in case you're having problems. Now time to connect to this Wi-Fi router. So down here on the right side where you have the Wi-Fi setting, you should see an H3C Wi-Fi, and as soon as you're connected to this Wi-Fi provided from this router, you are guided automatically to the website where you can do the setup. Of course, I have to blur this information here, but it's super important now first to give a Wi-Fi password so nobody else can access it. And this password will then also be used as a management password whenever you go to this website here, the website which you find also underneath. Then it will ask for exactly this password, so write it down. And another very important thing, if you are replacing an old Wi-Fi system with this Wi-Fi 6 router, then here you have the possibility to use exactly the same SSIDs or same Wi-Fi names for 2.4G and 5G. So you don't have to change anything with your existing devices. You will not have to reconnect manually, for example, your smartphone, tablet, TV, security cameras, because they will automatically then connect to this Wi-Fi as soon as we have provided the same SSID and password. That's super important because a lot of Wi-Fi routers don't have this option, so it's a huge advantage here. Of course, after hitting the apply button for the SSID and the password, you will be pretty much instantly thrown out of this Wi-Fi network because it has changed everything. And so now you need to reconnect again, provide your password for the Wi-Fi and also provide the password here for this website. And so now we can do all the changes here. We can see the network configuration. We can see the details about wireless, client list, and of course much more. For example, timer service, network access limits, use UPnP, work with security settings, which we really have a lot, pretty much top notch here, even VPN. And so as a proof that everything works, I can show you the live view of this camera here, which was connected to an old router, which I've replaced now with this very modern Wi-Fi 6 from H3C. So pretty much plug and play. Didn't have to change anything, and you can see we have really good connection here. And so I've installed the router now outside in the garage, connected to the modem, where it makes much more sense than connecting it to another router. And I've been using it now for some time, and so far it's working really good. We can see here really nice stable image from this surveillance camera, which is pretty far away from the router. And also when we check the signal strength, I think before it was around 77% and now we have a whopping 90% so far away. That's pretty impressive for a Wi-Fi router without external antennas. And before I had a router with external antennas, so definitely confirmation that we have a really awesome signal strength from this Wi-Fi router. And not only that, there's actually one really important point to mention regarding this camera here. Even though it's a brand new camera, I had huge problems to connect it to my existing Wi-Fi, for example, from this Eero router. I couldn't even connect it in the legacy mode, not even with 2.4G, really nothing. And so I've been really worried about replacing my old router where this camera still worked with this H3C Magic BX54 AX5400 router, but it turned out that it was a huge success. And there was actually a second problem which I always had with my Wi-Fi router, no matter if it was the Eero or the other EasyMesh router. I've never been able to connect this camera, but finally with the H3C Magic I've been able to set it up and connect it. So it looks like this thing has really super wide compatibility with a lot of devices, even though it's a really modern router. And of course I've also been testing it for gaming, been playing a little bit of Rocket League, and it was absolutely amazing. Had a really low ping of mid-40s, which is rather rare. So usually I have mid-60s, if I'm lucky, once maybe mid-50s, but sometimes worst case even mid-70s. And here is this router. I was always in the mid-40s. Was absolutely awesome to play. Of course I haven't tested everything till now, but first setup, plug and play worked really good. And especially regarding compatibility and Wi-Fi strength, a huge plus here. On the other side, I've also tested the speed a couple of times from my PC, and I got always a little bit slower speed. I don't know what the problem is. Of course, I had to install it in a little bit worse position compared to the old router. Just a couple of inches away from the old router, but a little bit closer to the modem. So maybe there's some small interference, can't really tell you. I mean, usually we should have really fast speed here. So I'm rather guessing that my problem is more the interference with the router. Other than that, everything looks really good. I love the options, especially all the security features which we have here. And so if you're interested, I'll put down the link to the Amazon listing down into the description so you can check it out and order one for you if you like. And I hope I've been able to help you a little bit with this video. If you have any questions or comments or want to share your own experience with this router, then just let us know down in the feedback area. I'm always happy to talk about these things. And if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time.